Fellas, welcome back to the YouTube channel, welcome back to Twitch. We are doing now my personal tier list. People have been requesting it a lot. I just got some help that all the images are in here from Rias PRPR, so shout out for him for helping me setting it up real quick. This is my personal tier list here. It should be pretty clear how it works. S tier, really good, good, meh, and bro, please get out. Now, before I say it, before we go into it, we put all 4 categories in, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I think Battleships is the only class in the game. I mean, we can exclude carriers now and so on, but Battleships is the only class where I don't think there is a bad BB. Not a single one. Yes, you could argue that the GK is not as good, for example, in Ohio, but I just want to clarify. That every BB can perform. It's unfortunate that people, for example, build a full secondary build in GK and in the first 3 minutes, but it's still a decent chip. And even, like, I really don't think there's a bad BB. I just want to clarify it like this. So I can already tell you, nothing is gonna be below here. There's not gonna be a meh. There's not gonna be a bro, please get out. That might be in case of cruisers or something else, or submarines, but not when it comes to battleships. So you will see that nothing really goes down here. I might put maybe GK and meh, but I really don't think it's gonna be really that bad. But hey, maybe for the sake of the list, I'm gonna put them here. But basically, you can play it, counts in for every BB. Now, we start. We have the Bongo. Oh my god, like, okay, the list is kind of starting crazily already. Now, I think Bongo is an absolutely amazing battleship. You have insane accuracy with the spot, especially with the spotter plane, but even without, you have insane accuracy, you have very fast shell speed. The only thing, you're an absolute nightmare to every cruiser player in the game, pretty much. If they show broadside, you often get death strikes. I mean, you're gonna see multiple death strikes on my YouTube short soon with the Bongo. It's just crazy how strong the ship is. I'll keep it. I'll definitely gonna put it in Unicom, because Super Unicom, there's gonna be one ship in there. You can probably already think which one it's gonna be, but it's the one I think is absolutely crazily overperforming. But yeah, the weakness is your armor is not that good. You can be overmatched in the front and the back, and your pen, while 457 is absolutely amazing for cruisers, it is at longer ranges kind of lackluster against battleships. You will not be able to citadel most BBs at certain ranges, plus 16, 17 kilometers consistently. It also has really good HE. The fire chance is low, but the alpha is absolutely amazing. So definitely gonna put it into Unicom, because it is a very strong ship. Next up, we have Yamato. Now, Yamato and Shikishima I'm gonna do in one go, because they're pretty much equal in the powerhouse. What makes Yamato and Shiki special? They both have 32 millimeters of armor overmatch. I mean, Shikishima even 35. That's on Shiki does. Wait, guys. I know Riga has 35 millimeters of armor, but doesn't also Novosibirsk has 35, or has it 50? It has 50, right? Novosibirsk. Because the other day I played with Hanover, and they just completely smashed the Novo from the front the whole time. But anyway. So, Yamato and Shikishima are all about the overmatch. You are a very HC resilient chip as long as they are shooting you on range, because they cannot necessarily always hit the parts like the superstructure and so on, and you have a lot of armor plates everywhere around it. The downside is you have a very massive citadel, and you have actually 3 notorious weak spots on the ship. You have a cheek in the front, where you can get easily citadeled in the brawl. You have the same cheek in the back, pretty much, the same weakness. And you have occasionally a ridiculous funnel citadel, which happens actually fairly consistent. So if you're kiting, for example, away, like completely angled away, people can shoot your superstructure, and they have a decent chance of citadeling you, because due to the funnel, how it looks, the angle, it can ricochet down into your citadel. So the ship is notorious weak against especially incoming enemy BB fire once you are either in a brawl, or they hit your superstructure in the back, or you show broadside in general. Other than that, though, good range, Nice gun, it's good overmatch, and since it does have 32 overmatch and you can play against BBs in that part as well, I'm gonna also put them into Unicom. We should have put one more slot in here, but it's fine, it's fine. Actually, we're gonna put the GK here so we can have a bit of things. But I would just love to say it again, I don't think there is a bad BB. Next up we have the Montana. Now, Monty is one of the oldest ships in game, next to Yamato. What can I say about it? 12 guns, pretty accurate. Waterline Citadel. The thing is, what Monty kind of lacks is that while you have the accuracy, and I still think it's a very good ship, it doesn't have the 30mm overmatch. So you kind of have to, it sounds weird, but you have to aim on certain spots usually. Meanwhile, other things with 457s and so on can just click a cruiser in the middle and do massive amount of damage, while you actually have to aim for the parts where there is no 32 or superstructure and so on. Nevertheless, I still think it's a decent ship. I'm definitely not gonna put it into Unicom because obviously Bongo is better than Monty by quite a bit. But we're gonna put it in You Can Play It. I still think it's fairly decent, and again, I cannot say it enough. I think the ships are extremely, like every BB is still extremely good in the game. Now, Louisiana. When this ship was released, I would have put it instantly into Unicom. Maybe even, to be fair, before plane changes into Super Unicom, for the following reason. Louisiana, when it was released, was not only it had the competition such as Seabeer, Lippart, and Villim, and Irresistible, and the, well, OP Colombo. But basically what it had the crazy dive bombers. The dive bombers back in the day in Louisiana had such a small drop pattern that you could nuke DDs quite consistently with it. You had such a small drop pattern that you couldn't miss BBs, you couldn't really miss cruisers when you had the pattern on somebody. And you couldn't, like a DD got smashed, like absolutely smashed. Not only could you spot with the planes, but you could also smash them. Plus, on top, you have 10 guns, which are still fairly accurate, just like Monty. Downside is you have massive superstructure. I'm gonna play it now and You Can Play It. Although, it's kind of in between here, because while it is not as good, for example, as Monty in a straight-up gun performance, it does have the plane spotting capabilities still, and yeah. The bombers got heavily nerfed, luckily. If the bombers would be still how they are, and with this competition it would be here, but with the nerfed bombers we're gonna put it here. It's still a good BB. It's a bit boring to play in my opinion, and you do need to watch out about your massive superstructure. But the plane spotting capabilities are still crazy. Like, you can never underestimate how good plane spotting capabilities is. Late game, you need to find an opponent. You know roughly the direction where he is. Every other BB, you're like, okay, we can't find that DD now. Let's say, classic scenario, you and Moskva are or not the Moskva, let's take a non-radar ship. You and a Castilla, and there's one Hayate. You have to kill him, he is rather close, but you don't have, you are not close enough to proxy spot him. Louisiana launches planes, you fly over him, you hover over him, and the Castilla player finishes him off. This is kind of the stuff where the plane spotting is very strong, and definitely brings up something advantageous. Next off, Ohio. Ohio is, in my opinion, the most versatile BB in the game, pretty much. The most versatile. It can do everything. It's not perfect in any regard, but it's really strong in most regards. 30mm overmatch, decent secondaries, not for damage output, but raw fire chance. Survivability is okay, you are Monty Hole, but unlike Monty, which has a better heal, Monty has a better heal, but Ohio has a short cooldown on the heal. You have 40 seconds cooldown on the heal, meaning you can repeatedly use your heal in short engagements. You have the secondaries with improved dispersion. You have decent gun accuracy. You have good reload. AA is alright. Like, this is kind of the ship that doesn't excel in anything particularly, but it does everything so well that it never disappoints. It's like a Swiss knife in that regard. So definitely putting it in Unicom. So definitely recommend it. Research Pyro, if you're looking for a solid BB on tier 10 which performs in any way, Ohio is still a good bet, and I love this ship. I really do love it. Wisconsin. Oh, maybe we need to put a few more into Super Unicom. I'm undecided about it. I mean, I could also say the straight up way too overperforming OPBBs I could put in here. But yeah, Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin was a dockyard battleship, US battleship, and it's pretty much an Iowa. Like, it's an Iowa class. The difference is, though, you have way more accurate guns. You have an F key that's basically gives you a reload booster plus 80% faster recharge on your consumables. These two factors alone are already absolutely amazing. These two factors are absolutely amazing. Now, what makes my ship, in my opinion, the ship though super annoying and definitely way too strong, it doesn't have the same citadel as Iowa. Wargaming thought it would be alright, we put it Iowa at T10, we need to put the citadel extremely low under the water. And I'm not talking by a bit, it's quite a lot. So this makes Wisconsin pretty much below 10 km, unless you have really like floaty shells, with the pen of course, below 10 km, impossible to citadel. You can just go broadside and get away with it. You might get full penned, but you don't get citadeled. The only real way to citadel Wisconsin is either on longer ranges, or if he turns into you, lifting his citadel up. Other than that, it's kind of noob proven and ridiculously hard to punish, because again, you can't citadel it. And it does have the crazy F key. It doesn't have 30mm overmatch, but my god, this citadel alone I would love to put it here, because I hate brain dead citadels. All of these ships you see here can be citadeled. That alone should put them one down in comparison to this. But on the other hand, you don't have 30mm overmatch. You do have insane gun accuracy though. So I decided a bit differently. I'm actually going to put it here. We're going to put a few more here that I think that should straight up be nerfed in that regard. The citadel protection is so ridiculous, they should lift it up and the ship would still be fine. People could just not play it as brain dead anymore. Next, Vermongos. Ooh, Vermont. Now, if World of Wheelchair would be my chat, he would probably put it here. Like two things even higher. But no, jokes aside. I would say... I mean, I love Vermont. I think it's a very strong ship, and it's pretty much like a Death Star. Like, every cruiser player that has 30mm of main armor is pretty much food for this ship. It also smashes BBs extremely well. You have insanely accurate guns. You have 12 of them. I think you have probably one of the strongest alpha salvos in the game as well. What is the Citadel hit? 16k damage, something, 15.5 or something. So this thing is an absolute Death Star. It also holds my record in killing a submarine at 30 kilometers. It has improved acceleration. It has also the same improved heal as Ohio, so you heal pretty fast. It is actually decently tanky, because you have the side plating is, I think, if I remember, 51mm. Is the side plating completely 50 or is it 38 upwards? I think it's 50 on the side, right? 51? But yeah, basically it's really, really tanky as well in that regard. You mostly play it to medium to longer ranges. It's not really the ship you pushed in, but the ability to just bring this devastating salvo at any point in the game to pretty much any point of the map. You also have insane range, and this is a perfect crossfiring machine. You have a perfect crossfiring position with this thing pretty much. You can like annihilate ships 19-18 km away on another side of the map as well if you can aim the shot. Yeah, what's bad about it? I mean, it's only the slow speed, effectively. You have also improved acceleration, so you reach that speed very fast again. Du hast so ein bescheuerten Torpedoschütze und Protected Citadel, there we go. So, I'll put it into Unicom. I still think there's worse ships to fight, like, there's ships stronger in that department, because you do have 40 seconds of reload. And especially if people are not really experienced with the ship and they're with their salvos, you just wasted 40 seconds for nothing. You really want to make your shots count. What's also pretty decent in the ship is that once you're at like 15 km and below, you can legit just put 15-20k salvos into superstructure. How is Wisconsin better than Vermont? We're talking about things that make the ship game breaking, and Wisconsin cannot be citadels really in close range, and that's stupid enough. Meanwhile, with Vermont you can. Rhode Island. Oh, that's easy. That's easy. That I don't need to even think about it. That's a super Unicom ship. If Rhode Island would have a cruiser icon instead of a BB icon, it would probably be the best cruiser in the game. Now let me explain. Rhode Island might not be as tanky because although it can still be pretty tanky, but it has an overmatchable nose and back, but it has absolute insane guns. You have insanely good reload, you have really good accuracy. This thing, you have improved AP angles. This is just a crazy car. This is just an absolute crazy car. Yes, you can get punished, but my god, the ability to have a radar, to have these secondaries that have improved dispersion, the insane guns that just work like a joy. It doesn't matter if you spam HE or use AP. You can clap cruisers at ridiculous angles due to the overmatch. You can farm down a BB if it's nose and super easily with HE. Rhode Island is definitely a crazy ship, and I think it's overperforming as well, even though it can be punished, depending on the player, rather easily. But it's absolute joy to play. Every time I take a Rhode Island into the battle, I feel like, wow. I don't perform bad in the Rhode Island. It's just cluck, okay, good game. Cluck, good game. Cluck, good game. So definitely an absolute crazy car. And whoever had the joy to play it knows how good the ship is. Next, we have Sibir. Okay. For those of you who have seen my rank qualification, okay, let me explain. Sibir is an amazing ship. It's pretty much a Kremlin with a bit less protection and a bit less consistent guns. But you do have the crazy secondaries on it, and you do have that F key that gives you 2 shots of 20% better dispersion, making it ridiculously good then in that moment to punish opponents. If it would be a ranked tier list, I would put it instantly to Super Unicom because it's just crazy good in ranked. However, you do rely of being extremely close to the front line because you want to charge up your F key, and you have that heal that is 1 minute and 40, I think, long. I don't know the exact value right now, how long the heal is, but basically you have a timed heal, and a lot of people can't necessarily cope with it and tend to use it too early. You also have overall less healable potential than Kremlin. And it's way harder to utilize in randoms. Now, I still perform very good in randoms with it. And if it would be ranked, I would instantly put it into the highest list. But I'm going to put it here because in randoms, it's nowhere near as easy to use as in ranked. And it doesn't have its full potential. In ranked, you can pretty much force close engagements all the time. Meanwhile, here, if you played way too aggressive at the beginning, you just get annihilated, use your heal too much, and you don't get too much value out of it. It can still break a flank if your team supports you. So I'm gonna put it here because I definitely think it's a very, very strong ship. And it's borderline broken in ranked as well. No, it's just broken in ranked, to be fair. But since we're sharing this whole line here in randoms, I'm gonna put it into Unicom. Good. Next up, Slava. That's gonna be Incomparable. Slava is a ship. I would even put it into meh, but I'm not gonna put it into meh because I said you can pretty much play every battleship in the game and they still perform. Slava has the problem. It has insane accuracy on long range. It at least insane vertical dispersion. Horizontal dispersion can still be sometimes, especially at close range. It has insane vertical dispersion. It has insane high AP pen. The problem is you don't have 30mm overmatch. Back in the day, when Slava was still called Pobeda in testing, when it was the nemesis of randoms, all the cruisers had 27. They didn't have the 30 change. So Slava excelled even more at smashing opponents regardless of the angle as well. Nowadays, cruisers can angle in against it. At close ranges, you're not really gonna hit nose-in targets consistently because your horizontal dispersion is absolute horrendous in close range. You have an overmatchable back and front. You have very low. I think you have also one of the weakest broadsides in the game. You have 946 shells, which with not even remotely good reload. I think you have over 30 seconds base reload with pretty much the lowest death striding potential as well when it comes to that. Now, it can still punish mistakes, and if you position yourself right, more in the back, of course, but if you position yourself right, you can create nasty salvos on the side. But honestly, you can do that with other ships as well, such as Bongo, Yamato, or Vermont, and these ones are just doing it straight up better, in my opinion, because they don't care about the armor angling of cruisers. Meanwhile, Slava also needs to hope that the cruiser doesn't see it, or he needs to find like a brain dead BB that's constantly broadside to him. I would even say that Slava is, in the current state, just as good as GK in that department. I don't think it's a good ship. I really don't. I think you shouldn't waste research points about it. Now, I know there's a lot of people who say, oh, but I get 200k with my Slava every game. Yeah, good for you if you have always brain dead people, or you're god in positioning because you somehow do it every time right. But the fact is, for the majority of players, I don't think Slava is a good ship. Or it's an okay ship, because again, there is no bad BB. But yeah, good. Next up is Kremlin. Oh, this list is really, I don't know. Like, I would love to like tell you that I think there's a difference between the CB and the Yamato a bit, and I would put it like this. But you get the idea. Kremlin. Where do we put you? Your Kremlin, for example, is far better than Slava in the current state. Kremlin has 457, is extremely tanky, has improved dispersion at short range, is more consistent than CB at longer ranges, but doesn't have that funny F key. On the other hand, you can heal more HP. Maybe we're gonna do this a bit. No, we're gonna still put it into Unicom then. We're gonna put it into Unicom because I still think Kremlin can perform. It can force pushes, it's extremely tanky. Keep in mind, guys, just because they're on the same level here, that doesn't mean they're necessarily exactly the same good. For example, I would take, for example, a Bongo over a Yamato, but I would not put it over a Wisconsin. So maybe we're gonna do it like this. Maybe we're gonna put... Nah, we're gonna leave it like this. We're gonna leave it like this. This is still like recommendations you should go for. But basically, Kremlin is extremely versatile in the way that you have the 30mm overmatch. You have insane amount of armor, you have a lot of HP, you can heal a lot, you have fast DCPs, which if used correctly are extremely strong. So definitely Kremlin is still a good pick in my opinion, can force pushes, very, very nice. Incomparable. Okay, we have an incomp here. Incomparable. Where do we put you? Now, Incomp is a double-edged pony. On the one hand, you have 32mm overmatch, which makes it extremely strong. It has insane conceal. And, to be fair, since the plane spotting changes we had in the last patches, Incomp is far less endangered by planes than it used to be. For example, you don't care about your firing bloom anymore against planes. You only spot it at 8.2 km, meaning your concealment is far more usable nowadays. I'm probably gonna go put it in Unicom. It's hard to play, it's very easy to punish. On the other hand, you do have that ridiculously good concealment, you do have nice guns. And now with the CV spotting exchanges, I could see myself putting it into Unicom because I think it's a fun boat to play. Back in the day, the biggest problem was once you had the CV in game, in an incomp, you pushed one flank, he was not aware of you, you shot your main guns once, you were instantly spotted by planes, because what happened is, the bloom was like, 19 kilometers air conceal. So even if you were behind cover and no surface ship would see you, you were instantly spotted by planes. Now that the bloom is gone and you're only spotted by 8.2, it's a far more relaxing time. It's still heavily MM dependent. Because once you have a CV player in game, incomp is still worse, depending if he focuses you down or not, than certain other ships. However, if there's no CV, this thing is excelling crazily. And due to the plane changes, I'm gonna put it in Unicom. If it would still have the bloom, I would probably put it in You Can Play It, because CV grief would be too real against the ship. But now that you actually can only be spotted at 8.2 km air conceal, no matter what you do, I put it into Unicom. Good. Next up, Conqueror. Yeah, Conqueror. Brain dead HC spamming machine. I mean, everything you can do with Conqueror. By the way, you forgot Thunderer, bro. Thunderer is missing. Everything you can do in Conqueror, Thunderer and Vincent can do better with the guns. However, Conqueror does have that ridiculous super heal, which Vincent also has, to be fair, but I'm gonna put it and you can play it. It's an extremely toxic ship because the majority of players spam HE with it, and the HE has quarter pen and extremely high fire chance in Alpha. However, you do have a very big citadel and can get easily punished. You can also get chunked down extremely heavily by HE spam, and yes, your heal helps you there, but your inconsistency in the guns and your overall armor layout is not really that great. So we're gonna put it and you can play it. It's still a good BB, but I wouldn't put it into the other classes. Now, before the changes, before the nerfs, which is already a couple of years or months now, Vincent could have been S tier, especially when it was released. It was an absolute insane BB. Now we're gonna put it into Unicom. Vincent is extremely strong. It also has a super heal. You have 457mm guns, which are rather accurate. You have decent HE. While you don't have the quarter pen, you still have the ridiculous fire chance, and you have the overmatch capabilities. It's also far more survivable than Conqueror, because the citadel is smaller to hit. Like, the whole freeboard is pretty small on the ship. It can still get punished if it shows broadside, and you have an overmatchable nose and back. However, with how the ship looks, you can play around it pretty easily. It's very maneuverable, it's extremely fast. It's definitely still on the stronger side, even after the nerfs. It has the funny torpedoes, which Dave just mentioned, so you can surprise people with that 25k torpedo at some point, which can sometimes save you. All you have to pay attention here to is the overmatchable nose in the back and front, and you need to stay angled. If you stay angled, the ship is very, very resilient and survivable. If you show broadside at point blank range, you can get citadels. At longer ranges, a lot of BB players will not be able to hit it, because the freeboard, as I said, like the side plating is very small for a battleship. And you can miss a lot of salvos because there's a lot of holes here and where shells could go through and so on. But nevertheless, extremely strong ship, extremely strong. Next up, GK. You can play it, it's not a bad ship, it doesn't excel at anything though anymore. I think the worst part about GK is nowadays that you have enormous superstructure. You have technically, with Turtleback, you have a great armor. However, it gets punished crazily by full pens only. And it has nearly the worst firing angles of all tier 10 BBs. I think Mecklenburg might have worse. But basically, you have shitty firing angles, you have no overmatch, you have an armor layout that plays against you because you eat a ton of full pen damage, and you have a massive superstructure. Even with all this bad mentioning, you still have 12 guns, which if you build them into guns and not into secondaries, it can still be punishing for cruisers if they do mistakes. And if people don't really shoot your superstructure and actually hit your angle platings, you can also survive something. However, most players know you just spam onto the superstructure, or if you show broadside, you get full pens. So it's in my opinion probably the weakest tier 10 battleship. But it's still good. Like, it still does the job. It still nukes a cruiser if you want to, and it's still, like, that's the thing with me and BBs. I legit don't think there is a shit BB in the game on tier 10. I think just most of them are far too overperforming. But, you know, it's BB players. They need every help they can get. Still, I wouldn't, if I had to spend coal, this would be the last... Or this would be in general the last tier 10 BB that I would recommend. Now, Preussen. Oh, I know, I'm not gonna make people mauled with this right now. But people know how much I love the Preussen. My Preussen comes into Unicom. And a lot of people will disagree with this. But for me, this ship just works like a charm. It's great. It has the same downsides as GK, pretty much. Although it does have better firing angles. But what makes Preussen for me so amazing to play is that it has that ridiculously fast reload and the 30mm overmatch, making it instantly for me better than GK. Instantly. Now, I know a lot of people would say, how can you put it here? It should also be here. And for most regards, you would be right, but I just love the fast reload. It works like a charm for me. If you build into guns, the guns aren't even as inconsistent as people make it. Even if you have a really bad salvo, you don't care about it because your reload is legit 20 seconds. Meanwhile, the other ones have like 10 or 5 or 6, 7 seconds longer reloads. So I love this boat, and it's gonna be very controversial for a lot of people to get this, like to get my placement here. But I just perfectly perform in it, and I'm very happy with it. And there's also a little bit of my personal bias in it. Good. Next up, we have the Mecklenburger. Mecklenburg. I mean, if it would be only for me, I would put it here, but I'm gonna put it into Unicom. It's definitely better than Preussen. But I don't think it's that crazy overperforming, such as other ships, which will always end on the list on the top there as well. So Mecklenburg is 16 accurate guns, 305mm, extremely fast reload, best AA out of all German BBs. Also the most maneuverable one, and also the fastest one, I think, besides Schlieffen. The downside of Mecklenburg is the shitty firing angles, the extremely bad firing angles. However, you can compensate for it because the rudder shift time is not as bad as, for example, on the Preussen and in the GK. So you can turn your ship rather well, especially if you go with turning mod. It's one of the only BBs where I don't recommend propulsion, because the ship accelerates actually pretty, like the engine power is pretty good in Mecklenburg and it accelerates fast enough for me. So I took actually rudder shift time on it to compensate for the bad firing angles. Other than that, extremely versatile, super accurate 16 guns. You can clap cruiser players left, right, and center if they show broadside. And if BBs stay nose in, you have quarter pen on the HG with 16 guns, and you can pretty much spam like a Conqueror, just crazily HG on BBs, and you will also farm them down. So this is a really, really good ship. I would even put it in between Unicom and Super Unicom if I could, because of personal preferences. Yeah, I just love this boat. Also, quick glance here, by the way. Since we don't have Thunderer would be in Unicom for the insane reload and good accuracy. So it would be better than Conqueror, even though it doesn't have a super heal. So imagine the Thunderer would be here. We don't have it right now, but it would also be in Unicom. Next up, Schlieffen. If I put it here, does it go down here? Yes, perfect. Yes, we have the Schlieffen now. Can I have it here? Good. Schlieffen, also Unicom. Self-explanatory, insanely strong secondaries. Insanely strong hittable secondaries. That's going to be a topic I'm going to later talk about Lippart as well. Strong torpedoes, decent survivability, even though it has an overmatchable nose. But in general, a very, very strong secondary boat still. Can dish out enormous amount of damage. Is also not that consistently to be Citadel. Only at close range you get like the Citadels consistently. On longer ranges you mostly get full pens because it's not that easy to hit. Low HP pool though. Heavily dependent on the players. A lot of people with Schlieffen and Lippart just gas it in the first 2-3 minutes of the game and go down. So do GK players, to be fair. But it's still a very good ship. Extremely strong and ranked as well. So definitely Unicom as well. Next up, we have the Burger. When this ship was released, we're talking about, I don't know, 8 years ago, it would be here. But now it's here. I mean, if it would be for my own personal preference, I would probably even put it here. But I know the majority of players perform pretty decent in it, so I'm gonna put it into Unicom. Bourgogne is a ship, it's a steel ship. It's pretty much an Alsace on tier 10 with faster reload, good speed boost, and a reload booster. It has the French 380s are very nice at clapping cruiser players if they show broadside. They also do decent damage against BBs. The problem is you're lacking 30mm overmatch in this boat, and you're also lacking kind of accuracy. I don't know if you noticed this. I don't think Bourgogne is actually that consistent when it comes to guns. I think I think you're kind of forced to HG spam more than you would like with the ship. You also don't have a lot of HP, and you are extremely easily farmable. You're extremely affected by HG spam on you because you're covered in 32mm, meaning 2 or 3 HG and so on just does a lot of damage to you. The main core is the speed, what also made the ship so special, but since every new BB is kind of crazily fast, I mean, Incomp is really fast, and Vincent is fast, Mecklenburg is fast, Schlieffen is fast, I'm really struggling to put it here. I would love to put it even here, and I know a lot of people will dislike it for me. I'm actually gonna put it here. I'm not really a big fan of Bourgogne. I'm really not. You can play extremely easily against it. The speed is not really something to point out anymore, because all new BBs we have in this game are fast. Like, I don't really like the ship that much anymore. I even said it in my how to play guide. I think the guns are not consistent enough to justify the drawbacks it has. I'm gonna put it here. I don't think it's a bad BB, but it has too many downsides for me to put it in here. And there's gonna be a lot of people disagreeing with this, and that's perfectly fine, but I'm not a big fan of the ship. No overmatch, not that good of a reload without the reload booster. Speed is not really advantage over it anymore, because most BBs are faster or the same speed. So I'm putting it here. Not a big fan of it. And even funnier is, I'm gonna put Republic instantly here, and now the people are gonna be like, how dare you putting Republic over Bourgogne? Simple fact, Republic got buffed a couple of months ago, has now better Sigma, meaning it's actually quite a bit more consistent on longer ranges. You have extremely fast reload, you have probably the most enjoyable AP shells in the... Whoever played Republic, the 431mm AP shells know what I mean. The guns are just a joy to shoot, because they're easy to aim at long range, they're extremely fast, they have insane pen, they have pretty good pen on long range. The ship is also pretty fast, and due to the Sigma buff, it's even more consistent, or it's less... It used to be kind of inconsistent, but they buffed it with the Sigma buff, so it's more consistent now on longer ranges as well. You have insanely fast reload. I like the Republic. It works like a charm for me. It's more like a medium to long range fighter. You don't really want to be too close as well, although it does have a little turtleback as well. Like the overmatch, like the reload, like the Sigma buff. Without the Sigma buff, I would probably put it here as the only overmatch BB, but you do feel a difference, and it's a bit more consistent than it used to be, so definitely placed here. Love this boat, love it. Cristoforo Colombo. Yeah, we're gonna put it here. Nah, of course. It should be self-explanatory. Cristoforo Colombo is currently, in the current state, the strongest BB on tier 10. Simply because no matter what you load AP. On the broadside, you completely annihilate its target, because the accuracy, you load SAP, you always do insane amount of damage. Colombo, especially with the unique upgrade, is at the moment the most consistent tier 10 BB. You're rather tanky, you have insanely good firing angles, you have 360 turrets in the back, you have an exhaust smoke generator that means you can just piss off if you have any problems. And this ship is just too consistent for what it shoots. It shoots 16 guns, which do absolutely crazy enormous amount of SAP, with SAP damage. You can absolutely one-tap cruisers, or even battleships at close range with the AP. Like, this thing is just so overperforming, it's not even funny. I would probably even put it here if I could. Nothing much to say to it. Broken. Why is CB not S tier? Because this is random battles. This is not based on ranked. If it would be ranked, we put it in S tier. But absolute, like, this is by far the most broken BB. It needs a nerf. Honestly, if I could nerf something about it, I would change the lag mod. I would give the unique upgrade instead of better dispersion, maybe longer smoke time or something. But not the only weakness Colombo had was kind of that long range dispersion without the unique upgrade. And even then, it was still good because you had the volume of fire. Because you had 16 shells, you would always do damage. But now with the unique upgrade, they even like put the one kind of weakness. It's not even a weakness, it was still overperforming. But they just took the thing that could be worse about Colombo and removed it. So not a big fan of the unique upgrade here. That definitely needs to change. And even worse is, this thing has an improved expert loader. If it has an inbuilt expert loader, and if you skill expert loader, you can switch at like 9-second reload left the ammo. Like, you're seeing a cruiser suddenly turn full broadside, or the Yamato, and you have SAP loaded. Oh no, you would do 30k damage anyway, but you could potentially death strike him. Let me quickly switch the ammo, because improved expert loader, 9 seconds, boom, you have AP loaded. Or you have AP loaded, he turns in, this is not gonna be a good salvo now. Switches, instantly SAP loaded, crazy. And here we have the brother, Cicilia, that's S tier. Cicilia has not the unique upgrades, Cicilia doesn't have SAP. Cicilia has, in close range, the problem that the secondary turrets block the third turret. You actually, in close range, you don't have the same firing angles as Colombo, because the third turret gets blocked there, as far as I remember. So, on longer ranges, you also have the extremely good firing angles, though. So, still a decent ship. Still, definitely, you still have 16 guns. They're still pretty consistent. You don't have the SAP, though. You do have faster smoke screen, though. You do have, not the SAP, you have faster cooldown on the smokes, as far as I'm aware of, and you have longer smoke screens, and you do have the secondaries. Now, I don't think the secondaries are really worth building into it, but I still think, in the current state, this is an okay BB. This is definitely, it can also be fun to play, but my god, it's not even comparable to these two. Like, the lag mod and having the ability to spam SAP on this boat in comparison to this makes the same looking boat so much different. You could also put it here. We could also put it here. Like, I'm really undecided here. It's just, we're gonna put it actually here, because we don't have the overmatch, and we don't have the demented ammo called SAP that we don't care about angling, so we're gonna put it here. It's still a fun boat to play. At least I played it when I played it on my press account. I still thought it was fun. Lauria, Unicom. This used to be better than this, but then they hyper buffed Colombo. So usually it would be like the other way around. Lauria, extremely big SAP guns, 457mm, which can also Citadel light cruisers such as Minotaur, which you can't, for example, in the Colombo. You can actually SAP Citadel some cruisers with the ship, which Colombo can not necessarily do. It's extremely fast. However, it does have the weakness. It's rather squishy if it shows broadside. It also has a weak spot in the back of the ship, where like the deck is here, and then there's another deck going up like this. So you have like this height here where you can easily pen it and Citadel it as well. However, the guns do hit like a truck, and you do have decent reload, and it's fast. It's still an extremely strong ship, but nowhere near close to Colombo, because it lacks the survivability, it lacks the smoke screen, and it doesn't have that crazy consistency as Colombo. Still, it's a cool boat. I like it. I have my damage record in it, 425,000 damage, and overall it's still a solid BB. It does have 30mm overmatch. The AP can be a bit tricky, because you have Thunder AP, which sounds on paper absolutely amazing, but you have short fuse, meaning you need to be extremely close to Citadel DBBs, otherwise you just get full pens. It does work pretty well on cruisers though. Next up, Irresistible. That's what we're gonna put in Super Unicom. It's one of the most toxic designs, I'm well aware of it. I don't even think, I just think the pure frustration is worth putting it here. You have a Marlboro hull, or a Vanguard hull, pretty much. A bit better Citadel protection than Vanguard as far as I'm aware, but still. This ship is rather squishy. This ship can get easily Citadeled. However, this ship also has 10.6 second reload, insanely good concealment, and a smoke screen. See it like an absolute enormous Cerberus, pretty much. Like, see it as a Cerberus, which has... like, it's just a disgusting ship to fight. There's nothing more frustrating than pushing into an Irresistible, because it has 10.6 second reload, 16 guns, 200 and... I don't know the caliber now. I think 234mm. I'm not sure about the caliber right now. But basically, you have insanely fast reload. You can pen 39mm of armor, meaning USBBs are getting full penned. Most USBBs, such as Ohio and Monty, and all the 32 BBs get full penned by HG. You have also ridiculously high AP pen, because this thing is between Goliath and Prince. It's not Prince AP pen, Prince Vanorani AP pen. It's not Goliath AP pen. It's in between it, meaning You have, for those small guns, extremely high citadel power, and you can citadel every cruiser pretty much at nearly maximum range as well. Like, you see a Des Moines at 18 km, you can citadel him with these guns. You see a Yoshino at 15 km, you can citadel him. You see a battleship, you can citadel him at 5 km or something. Like, only you can't citadel BBs on long range, of course, but that's where you can just crazily spam either on the upper belt or with the HE and get enormous fire damage. This is like, I can't say it enough. This is like the Smolensk of 2025, because it's, or a massive Cerberus. You just can spam crazy amount of damage out, and it's just super frustrating pushing into it. Not to mention that even if it gets spotted, as long as you're angled, you're not gonna get citadeled. You're like a tanky Cerberus in that regard. So I think this ship is way too overperforming in that regard, and I wish it would have like at least 3-4 second longer reload. Because in the current, or I don't know, change something with the smoke screen. I don't like this concept, having heavy cruiser guns on a battleship. It kind of like ruins the purpose of having this class. Next up, we have Villim the Erste. Villim the Erste, I'm gonna put here. Villim is pretty much a Scarlet Thunder hull, aka you know it also as a Duncan hull, but Scarlet Thunder has 32mm instead of 25. So this is one-to-one a Scarlet Thunder hull, which is pretty much a Duncan hull, but you cannot be overmatched from the front. It is very easy to citadel at short ranges to medium ranges, so don't show broadside with it. The citadel protection is not really there. However, it has extremely consistent guns. It has airstrikes, 15 km range, which can also force people out of positions, because otherwise they just lose like 20k HP or something with an airdrop. The airdrops are not easy to aim though. I think they, how much time is an airdrop? 18 seconds? Is it 18 seconds, guys, or 15? How long is the airdrop? It's very long. 19 seconds. Okay. So you drop an entire, like, you drop a huge area, but it takes very, very long to drop. So you can play around it. And again, it's rather squishy, and it doesn't have overmatch. It has 419mm guns, not 457. So I think it's a very strong ship. And you can force people out of position with the airdrops, or you can punish them even if you have enough gas in the leading, because we need to remember here, 18 seconds is a lot of time. When you have, for example, an Utrecht or a Tromp or a Rhode Island, it's usually way easier to aim with it, because these 3-4 seconds or up to 6-7 seconds difference, depending on what ship it is, making a huge difference in prediction. Also, you have way faster reload on them, unlike on Villim and Prince van Oranje, which have extremely long reload on the airstrikes. So, it's a good ship, and it can be very frustrating to fight with the airdrops. In the right moment, you can completely annihilate something like an Ohio. If you drop it perfectly and he's not aware of it, you can definitely have a devastating volleys with the airdrops. So, it's a good ship, but I wouldn't put it into like super OP. And now we have the Lippart. Now we have this boy. Pre-nerfed, the acceleration and in turns and so on got nerfed. Pre-nerfed, it would be here. Pre-nerfed, it would be here. It's by far the best secondary boat. Because it had absolute insane acceleration, and you just wouldn't bleed speed in turns and so on. But they luckily nerfed that, so I'm gonna put it here. It's still extremely strong. It's really tanky. It doesn't have a lot of superstructure, and the secondaries do hit like a truck. However, unlike Schlieffen, it doesn't have a lot of hittable secondary DPM. What I mean with this is, as soon as you're fighting with a Lippart, a destroyer that roughly knows WSD, or an extremely fast cruiser, you can dodge a lot of the potential smashing power of the secondaries. If you're a battleship, you suffer from it because you can't really dodge the secondaries. But in a DD, a Schlieffen is far more dangerous than a Lippart, because you just can't you can't dodge this volume of fire of a Schlieffen effectively, because first of all, the secondary shells are faster and there's way more coming your way. Meanwhile, on a Lippart, it depends on the class. And against the battleship, a Lippart is far worse, because yeah, these 3k damage secondary volleys will hit you. It also has an F key, increasing the secondary range up to 15.1 kilometers, which is extremely brutal, and it can lob over some certain islands with it, which is just ridiculous. Pre-nerfed, I would put it here, because you were extremely maneuverable, you didn't bleed any speed, but since they've nerfed the acceleration a bit, I'm gonna put it into Unicom. I would love to put it in between here, because it is better than the Schlieffen still, obviously, but it's not on the same level as a Colombo or Irresistible. So we're gonna put it here. It can be citadel at close range. In long ranges, it gets fairly inconsistent because you just pen the first layer, and then in the spaced armor the shells explode, so you only get full pen damage, and you don't reach the citadel armor. But yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it. We have Thunderer, which would also be in Unicom. So yeah. This is really for ships I would like that they receive a nerf, guys. These are ships that I would love to see, or in my opinion, definitely need some sort of nerf. I don't think Lippart needs that many nerfs anymore. The only thing I would change, I mean, we can put it here because of the demented citadel protection. We can put it here because it can't be really citadeled at longer ranges and only at short ranges. We're gonna put it here. But I do think the maneuverability nerf was great, because before that I would instantly put it here for sure. But yeah, that's my list. Again, meh and bro, please get out are not really a thing. We could have put an additional thing here between these, because there is a few that I would put above other ones. But again, as I stated, I don't think there is any bad tier 10 BB. All of them have their right to exist. All of them perform extremely well. We're just gonna play a GK match afterwards to prove it, even though it's here. Yeah, that's my personal tier list. Now, there's gonna be some people disagreeing with certain things, like Sibir only in Unicom, but again, it's not excelling in randoms as much as it does in ranked, for example, or me putting Preussen up here, or Bongo not here, and so on. So, that's my personal list. Some people will agree, some people will disagree with some choices. In general, I think people should understand why I put which BB were, and that's my tier list, yeah. So, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And that was my tier 10 BB list. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye bye, you Trendless and out.